I'm on behalf of FIRELOGUE project, which is called Cross-Sectoral Dialogue for Wildfire Risk Management. I think that is very relevant, and thank you very much for inviting us in this series of webinars. Obviously, I think that my colleagues will agree that the fire issue is probably one of the more clear and visual impacts on climate change all across European territories, and especially last summer we could see incredible fires even in unprecedented places like France, the Atlantic side, but also in England, for instance, etc. So fire is more and more becoming a European issue, and especially in terms of risk. And then it's not only from the perspective of fire into ecosystems, but also just how fires are becoming more approached from the disaster risk management strategies. This is general information about the project. We are also a coordination support action. Our calendar is from 22-25. There is a set of partners representing at the same time different territories of Europe, which is fundamental for exchanging knowledge, even breaking knowledge silos, putting together the experience from the north and south and east and west from European, especially in terms of wildfires. Since me, for instance, I'm from the Mediterranean. Of course, we have a long history on dealing with wildfire risk, but also we can learn a lot about how communities are engaged in risk management from the north of Europe and in another risk. So it's implicit in the project, in this partnership, to look for exchange information between us. Project is coordinated by Fraunhofer Institute in Germany, and you have here the list of participants. There are a set of associated projects to FIRELOGUE as a coordination support action, because that project was approved in the same Green Deal call that treats fire risk and SILVANUS. And there was a fire risk, which was an important also project on wildfire that started some months ago, that is under our umbrella. So in somehow we integrate that projects in our work within FIRELOGUE. This is basic information about how we organize in work packages, and I will try to share with you. We try to share with you some concrete aspects, because its time is limited, about our tools, what are we doing, and in what sense, what things can help also for the discussion. That are the main goals we have. So gathering and disseminating new data on stakeholders, research, etc. So this is very in somehow related to breaking these knowledge silos. We have an important and quite novel approach in terms of environmental justice linked to wildfire risk management. Well, you know perfectly that under Green Deal, main objective of Europe, justice dimensions or just transition questions are on the top of the policy agenda. On that sense, looking for potential conflicts and how to solve them and promote as much as possible synergies between stakeholders, etc. Building and promoting wildfire risk management community, creating this space for dialogue, you will see, and looking for identifying the best experiences and connecting knowledges across territories, across disciplines, etc. This is, for instance, one of our outcomes. This is a paper that was really recently published exactly this week, and was very well received, this kind of approach, because it's almost probably the first paper that is approaching that justice aspects within integrated wildfire risk management. I'm not going to stop here because this needs a full presentation, but you will have the you can find this paper on the website. This is what we call our infrastructure for dialogue. So we are organized in 5 working groups. In fact, my team is coordinating the environmental ecology working group. There are societal, infrastructures, insurance, which is also an important sector that is taking more and more role within wildfire risk management and civil protection. And then we have some thematic strands that works like a matrix in transverse way. This is a very short picture about what we are approaching through what we are approaching through the working group. And once more, I want to mention that. I mean, this is only a way to break silos, because we need also to put together experts on different disciplines, because fire is so cross-sectoral. I can be very good in terms of understanding forest management and fire prevention, but I don't know anything about insurance. And the insurance sector is very interested, for instance, if they can play any role in funding nature-based solutions in terms of wildfire risk. So they need to learn from us, but I also need to learn from them. And this is what also we are doing, breaking these knowledge silos, just putting different expertise together. We are open to I mean, anyone who wants to know more about that. So you will see the address of FIRELOGUE, and we're open to that. This is exactly the picture from 1 week ago that we host here in CTFC, the first cross working group. These working groups are about 10 or 12 or 15 experts, high-level experts on the topic, and this is a picture of the amazing group we host here. That was around 60 people plus almost 20 online. Another work that we are doing in FIRELOGUE is just coordinating through these different innovation actions, these very important expected impacts that are within the Green Deal call. They are very ambitious, obviously, to looking for in 2030 for Europe, 0 fatalities from wildfires, 50% reduction, etc. And we are just helping innovation actions to look for a common methodology, etc. Even if we need to understand these expected impacts as an indicator or even as a policy wish. But in any case, this is part of the discussion because COC are very, very, very ambitious. And finally, and I'm arriving to the end, FIRELOGUE is exactly promoting networking across main projects engaged on, as I said, that innovation actions also funded by the Green Deal, that today we have SILVANUS and also SAFER. But in this picture are not all the projects that we are looking for, but we would like to also to identify all these projects in synergy that are working in fire issues and also put all together. And we have this hashtag, and we have on the website different case studies that are promoting each one of these projects. And we are developing a platform for knowledge exchange, which is Lessons on Fire powered by FIRELOGUE, that comes from a previous platform. And then I'm not going to introduce the video for not putting more time, but you will have a copy, I guess, of the presentation. And you have here one of the objectives we want to promote relevant new platforms, to create knowledge repository, to provide info on wildfire risk management related case studies, etc. So basically wants to be a knowledge platform and also to promote community and to build community and to connect knowledge, lessons learned exchange, etc. And you will have the possibility, of course, and we really animate you to be part of our platform and to subscribe and to follow up all of our activities. Here you have how you can follow us in the social nets, and please, any question about how project works, or if you would like to be engaged in some of the working groups as an expert, we are totally at your availability. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for the invitation. I will present, my name is Lovor Komaric, and as the dissemination manager, I will present SILVANUS project, which focuses on the development of an integrated technological and information platform for wildfire management. First, briefly, the fact sheet: we're a big project. We have 49 partners from 15 EU member states, and also what makes the project a bit specific is that we also have 3 international countries, Australia, Brazil, and Indonesia, involved. The project cost is 24 million, and the funding by the European Commission is close to 20. We're more or less halfway through the project. So the project is 3.5 years long. So this presentation will also focus on some of the outputs and outcomes that we had for the past 18 months or 21 months. In a nutshell, the project deals with the development of a climate resilience, of an innovative technological platform providing decision-making supports in 3 distinct phases: preparedness, response, and recovery phase of wildfire management, where 3 important components are in synergy, where we are increasing the technology and scientific innovation, the environmental factors, human factors, taking them all into account to adopt the synergistic alliance. Through 3 already aforementioned phases, the prevention and preparedness, we have, for example, the advanced training program for firefighters. In this phase, a citizen engagement mobile app, a citizen engagement framework, fire ignition and fire forecast models, and so on. Within the second phase, the detection and response phase, we have the coordination of state-of-the-art technology deployments between ground robots, aerial vehicles, to detect forest fire, and a quite special wireless communication infrastructure to connect all of these technologies and the data they're sending in remote areas. And then we also have the phase C, which is the forest restoration policy, biodiversity restoration and adaptation phase, which focuses not only on biodiversity models and forest growth models, but also on policy recommendation on forest governance, soil rehabilitation strategy recommendation, and restoration roadmap services for natural resources. So basically, the novelty of the project, the innovation of the project, is the integration of all of these aspects of the big data framework, which collects all of this data, which I will also explain afterwards. So within the rings of protection of wildfire suppression, we have various lines of defenses. In the first line of defense, the platform identifies regions of high fire probability due to biofuel available in the region, and we use on-site devices such as cameras and sensors. In the second line of defense, drones are used for visual inspection, and also human intelligence is used by using social media data. The third line of defense, full resource mobilization, deployment of ground robots in areas where drones cannot inspect clearly, setup of a forward command center, and bringing people to safety. While in the fourth line of defense, we also deploy airplanes, helicopters, which can further deploy water cannons, water bombs, and so on. This is the technical framework. So SILVANUS platform exists within a cloud that accumulates all of this data from citizen engagement, from social media, from the weather and climate models, remote sensing, Earth observation satellites, and so on, through to the near edge, the establishment of forward command centers, where the firefighters are closely coordinating the deployment of state-of-the-art technology of far edge, which goes to the front lines. These are the aforementioned drones, robots, sensors, and so on. So the platform, as I have already mentioned, consists of various components and user products, from the AR/VR training toolkit for firefighters to the citizen engagement app, where we expect from citizens not only to acquire data from SILVANUS, but also interactively to provide us with important data from the field, along with a fire danger risk assessment using remote sensing and Earth observation data sources, a biodiversity mobile app to catalog the biodiversity and the fuel available in the observed regions. We have the fire detection based on social sensing, the aforementioned sensors, the fire spread forecast, and detection and inspection using drones and ground robots. All of this will be more crystallized and more recognized and implemented through pilots. We have 12 pilots in 11 countries. Each pilot was selected according to their own specificities. For example, the French pilot in central France is based on a case study where we might have a forest fire close to an industry plant where there is a possibility of explosion. While, for example, in Greece, we have promotion of fire safety and ecological resilience program on the island of Evia, which was famous for, or infamous for, its numerous fire incidents, prevention, detection, and restoration of against accidental fire due to environmental and weather conditions in Gargano National Park, public awareness campaign on fire danger safety in Slovakia. Then we also have, for example, what is quite specific is about the Portuguese pilot. There we analyze the possibility of accidental fires due to their closeness to transmission lines, which may have dangerous impacts on energy supply, on water supply. We also have a pilot focusing on preparedness and training in Czechia, on prevention strategies against environmental causes and human negligence in Croatia, and on improving wildfire resilience program in Romania. Also, the international projects. We focus on biodiversity restoration framework after wildfire in Indonesia, in the central Kalimantan province. We also focus on the climate and weather impacts on Amazonian fires in Brazil, and on ground robot technologies and advanced computing technologies at the Queensland Centre for Advanced Technologies in Australia. Speaking of outputs and of outcomes, two of the pilots were implemented in April of this year. Technologies were tested. The Croatian pilot was tested at the training center of Šapljane near the city of Rijeka. Some of the technologies validated were the far edge IoT devices for smoke detection, which you can see installed in the picture on the left side, the ground robots, the drones, and the airplanes, which were deployed for fire mitigation, and the wireless communication system, the mesh in the sky system, which helps all of this data to be sent and transmitted to the platform, especially in remote areas and in areas where connection may be a bit weaker. I have mentioned the UGVs for water dispersion, and we also had the support from the local administration, the county, the local county prefect was there, the local firefighting commander, and also the Croatian firefighting commander was there. Something similar also took place in Slovakia, in the Polana region, where technologies validated were, for example, the citizen engagement mobile app, the ground robots navigating complex, hilly, dirty, wet terrain, which is also very important. The experimental evaluation of the so-called Bambi bucket, which is a water cannon deployed from the helicopters, which were in this case deployed by the Slovak Ministry of Defense. Aerial surveillance using drones, command and control center for gathering these environmental and weather data sources to be sent to the platform, and the UAVs deployed for gathering evidence. So the pilots were successfully implemented, and this data was collected. 10 more pilots to go, where the data will be collected, will be further validated and collected through the SILVANUS platform and analyzed. Also, the phase A, which I've mentioned before, the prevention and preparedness phase. So to coincide with the pilots, we also have citizen engagement campaigns, not only in the virtual sphere. If you follow us on social media and online, we have these bi-weekly social media educational campaigns where, along with the SILVANUS project overview, we also offer citizens tips and advices how to handle extreme wildfire and how to behave when they find themselves in situations of fire danger. This exhibition showed 10 posters related to SILVANUS and related to citizen engagement, and the poster exhibition was opened by the mayor of Rijeka, Marko Filipović. This is a city of 130,000 inhabitants, and it is the closest urban center to the Croatian pilot site that was mentioned before. These are some of the posters that were displayed at the exhibition, which you can also find on our social media and online. This is the citizen engagement app, mobile app announcements, where we emphasize the interaction between the citizens, between the local communities affected by wildfire, and connected with the outputs of the SILVANUS platform. If you're interested, you can also take part in our efforts to scan the QR code to request access to our testing program for the citizen engagement app, because your feedback can help us refine the app, refine the roadmap, and to re-identify our priorities. This is all from my side. Again, thank you very much, and open for all of the questions, and join us on social media and check our website now and then. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. So the objective here I wanted to set for this presentation is to give you an overview of the project, and then speak very briefly about selected innovations. I will not have the time to mention them all, but just to give you an idea, and for today I selected the services and the solutions that we links, that we are also the project coordinator of SAFERS, we realized. So this is the state of play related to wildfire. We all know that is driven by climate change, and is also the impacts are increasing due to the widespread land use change, and also urbanization and the population increasing. Just some facts about last year, where you can see that in Europe the number of fire has been decreasing a lot, but the burned area in terms of acre burned has increased in an opposite way. So this means that we have less fire, but more impacting fire, maybe also due to the effect of the rising temperature and the rising frequency of extreme weather events, such as extreme drought period or extreme winds. SAFERS so was born to address these challenges, so reducing the impact of forest fire and promoting solutions that could help the society in becoming more resilient to wildfires. So it started in October 2020. It will finish actually in 2024 because we got an extension. So in March 2024 it will finish. So 3.5 years. It is a 3 million project with 14 partners, and the aim of the project is to realize an AI-based solution that are feeding an emergency management platform, which will be released in open source. So the idea here is that we have a platform that enables the user to use these what we call intelligence services, and we have services to cover the 3 macro phases: prevention and preparedness, detection and response, and restoration and adaptation. The platform allows to use such services and to receive data and visualize their output. So, of course, we have services that use Earth observation, mainly from Copernicus, and we'll give some example before. We have fire sensors, or in this case, optical cameras that are installed in critical places with some wide views, and they can, thanks to AI, they can detect smoke or fire, so to trigger an early warning, and so to perform an early detection of a wildfire. Then we have also a chatbot. This is used for citizens, but also for professionals, and is being adopted in Piedmont region to manage volunteers and emergency management, and then weather forecast and the risk maps. Our solution is being demonstrating in 4 places. We have 4 pilots, and we have done already 2 in-field demonstration in Piedmont and Corsica, while the next ones will be in Spain and Greece in September and December this year. This is an overview of the platform, the module of the platform. So, as I said, these will be open source, and they will include a web-based front end for data visualization that is supported by an API gateway, a sensor service to support IoT data, including a camera in the field, then an identity server to support the authentication, a big data repository that it is used to store all the data from the intelligence services, or most of the data, and this is a repository that is compliant with Inspire directive with respect to metadata, and also can be linked with other repositories such as GEOS or NextGeos, and an importer and mapper that takes this data and transforms this data, imports in a database, and offers this data as a time series, or transform this data to serve them as a map layer through OGC compliant services. So this is the platform, while the intelligence service include a decision support system, social media analysis. We were using Twitter, and now this has been discontinued due to the recent change in the API access policy. We have this chatbot I mentioned for citizen and volunteer. It includes also a gamified approach and an awareness strategy to inform citizens about the safe behaviors and what to do in case of emergencies and what not to do in certain cases of high risk. We have a sub-seasonal weather forecast that's probabilistic and deterministic, up to 45 days of lead time. And then we have operational early warning that delivers fire weather index, sub-indexes, and anomalies on the sub-indexes of the fire weather index, plus a new index, a risk index that is computed starting from the probability of ignition of a fire due to lightning. We have the camera that detects smoke and fire, a propagation model that, given some boundary condition, is able to forecast the evolution of a fire, and then a delineation model that delineates a burned area and also extract exposed elements, and then another service that, given an area, monitors the vegetative index to see how the vegetation recovers after a forest fire. So there are these set of services are of two kinds. One are operational services. We call them operational services, meaning that they execute, they compute, and they push data on the platform. While other services are what we call on-demand services, and they are triggered via a request that is sent through a message bus. They compute, and then they provide the output as a result. So we have developed some interfaces to allow this system to be interfaced with the platform. And these interfaces is quite general, let me say, is quite easily to be integrated also in other existing system, in other platforms. So the platform can be somehow host data from other services, not only the safest one, and the services can be integrated in other platform thanks to this paradigm of asynchronous communication and interfaces that we have developed. So, for example, for the burned area, the user defines an area and a temporal interval. It sends this message on the bus. We have a component that takes this message, an orchestrator that downloads the geospatial data required, runs an AI model to delineate the area, then in the area delineated, takes exposure data from land monitoring services, from GHSL and Copernicus JRC human settlement layer, and from OpenStreetMap. It composes the exposure and the delineation and sends all this data to the safest repository. And in turn, it importer and mapper is informed and imports the data, creating the visualization layers, and then informs the bus that this has been done. So to give you an example, this is the kind of output that we produce. We have some paper about our technique that we have been improving throughout time. And so we started with the CNN, and then now we evolved to another model. We started with the unit, sorry, and then we evolved to another model. And then one other service that we have is the lane cover computation. So this is a simplified lane cover with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 classes. And these classes have been selected to support the fire propagation model. So we have trained a transformer model, and we have also a paper in NIGARS that will present in NIGARS next week in Pasadena about this. So our model was able to outperform all the state-of-the-art, the other models, compared against Lucas, that is a certified dataset, validated dataset of lane cover. And here you have an example. So we have the capability to compute it on the fly and the 10-meter resolution for the entire Europe. We also are doing another work. This is more research, but I think it will be operationalized, but using other kind of satellites. So the idea here was to, because Moody's and VIRS have these hotspots that may be fires, but they may be also other kind of fire. Not only, they could be volcanoes, or they are thermal anomalies basically. So they could be also other things and not wildfires. So we wanted to do an algorithm based on other data that retains only the thermal anomalies that are indeed the wildfires. So in this case, we use several data, including the land cover, but when we tested also with Sentinel-3 and with the previous anomalies. And we use the EFIS database to have the ground truth, so to associate the hotspots being wildfires. And we trained some machine learning models, and we achieved some interesting results. Also, we have a paper on that that will be presented the next week at IGARS. And interestingly, also using only Sentinel-3, we could get good performances. And of course, Sentinel-3 has only 2 samples per day, so it's not enough to have an early detection. So the next step will be to try other satellite network with a shorter revisit time. And that's just 3 examples of research work that we are doing. But of course, we have 9 intelligence services. So maybe next time I could, if it is interesting, I could get deeper into one or the other services. Thank you.